Okay. So thank you for joining this webinar today, hosted by the IEP, Institute for Employability Professionals. Thank you very much for Claire and Andy sorting out this and enabling us to get this done for RBLI. Really interested to hear your feedback. So we have the chat icon down at the bottom here on the bar. Please use it. Let me know what's going on. And if you have any questions, I will pick them up at different points during the presentation. As I say, I'm recording this and we'll get started. My name's Scott Parkin. I'm the Executive Chairman of the IEP, the Institute for Employability Professionals. RBLI is a corporate affiliate partner of the IEP, and that means that they gain access, and you as staff gain access to our support and services and our networks. We're really pleased to have you on board. I'm really pleased for you to be here today, and I'm really pleased for you to be on board with the IEP throughout this year. And today I'm going to hopefully show you what the IEP is all about, what we aim to achieve, how we're going to enable that to be achieved through sharing networks and learning with you guys. And then what I think the future is going to be like further down the line and over the next few months in terms of learning and development for everyone involved in the IEP and the employability sector. The first thing I'd like to say is that the IEP has grown massively over the last year. We're now supporting housing associations and careers-based companies and lots of local authorities, alongside charitable organisations and private sector employment support deliverers, where we started from. And we keep pushing the boundaries of learning. We keep pushing the boundaries in terms of who we work with. And ultimately, we do that because we have a real belief that the best, most positive and ideal way of influencing service delivery and the support for an individual person who requires the support of an employability advisor is through those employability advisors that work on the front line, through those people delivering services every day. And it doesn't, it's pretty obvious that if we can influence that level of service delivery by that individual, then ultimately the service delivered to those customers will be continuously good or even better than good. I come from a point of knowing and understanding that everything that you do as a group is really great anyway. But if you're like me, you will always fundamentally believe that there is always something that we can learn. There's always something that changes, and there's always something that we can do better. So I learn every single day. If anyone's seen my LinkedIn posts, one of the hashtags I use in that is always learning. I learn from these webinars. I learn in every interaction I have every single day. And that's really important to me, that we keep progressing, we keep building, and we keep providing great levels of service to customers. So I'm going to move on to a presentation. I hope this is going to work. Okay, it's not quite there yet, so just bear with me a second. Okay, you can't see this on my screen yet, but you will be able to in a moment, I hope. Yes, here we go. So as long as it's okay with you, I'm going to go through this presentation now and talk you through the IEP, what it's about, how we can help and support you, and then what the future looks like. Okay, with a nice little, hopefully a nice little demo in the middle about the website and how the services work and how you can gain the support you need. So our vision does exactly what it says on the tin. We help you guys, you people who support those others, gain work, progress in work, and retain work. That's what we're about. So we want to make sure that service standards are continuously improving and that people are getting what they need to move on in their lives. We're all about independence. We're all about making sure that people can take control of their own lives, whether they are accessing services because they are wanting to progress their careers, whether accessing services because they never had a job, or whether they have a disability, or where they have a health condition, or where they are recent entrants to the country, whatever that may be, whatever reason they need support, geographically, family-wise, whatever. We want to make sure that the services are great. These are the kinds of organisations we work with. Some of those are relatively new, local authorities over the last year, housing associations, organisations like that. We don't lobby government, that's not our job, but we do enable information to get to government from frontline advice about what works. And our argument would always be a very positive one. This is what works, this is why you should do it, instead of this doesn't work, you know, this is a nightmare. That's not what we want to do. We want to highlight employability services in the best light possible constantly with government and the public. And one of our key objectives is to enable the government and the public at large to understand what people do. Why is it? Oh, I'm sorry, there's a nice image of the kinds of organizations that we work with. Okay. And I don't have enough room to put every organisation on that thing. So I've talked about empowering individuals. I've talked about how advisors should feel proud about what they do, how they should be recognised for what they do, and how, you know, it always strikes me as being very, very strange that within UK society, we talk about people working in professional practice like occupational therapists or physiotherapists or social workers or teachers, or, you know, even maybe in a more modern world, coaches, mentors, those kind of things. And they're all regarded as having very, very high level of professional standing. And then we talk about employment advisors, or we talk about career coaches, or we talk about, you know, whatever different organizations call people who do all of that work, the nuts and bolts, the really creative stuff at the front end. And because the public and even the government don't understand what it is, we always find it really hard to articulate that and for people to recognise it as being a profession. Well, I can tell you now, hot off the press, as we've been developing a new apprenticeship trailblazer, we've been able to develop a level 4 because the quasi-government department in the Institute for Apprenticeships have recognised employability practitioner as a standalone occupation. For me, that is a significant step forward to people understanding what it needs to be. And that's taken account in terms of championing employability. Let's at the IEP, we are less talking about what is delivered in practical terms, although we do talk about those things quite readily. But we're also talking about the social and economic impact and value of what advisors do every single day with with customers with really, really challenging needs. And that, for me, shows the professionalism of the sector and those people working in it. We want to make sure employers like RBLI, which I know they do, recognise the amount of work that people do and the great contribution to that social and economic value that they have. And we want to make sure that's recognised through great PR, great understanding, salary rewards. You know, the whole thing is about making sure that employers recognise that. And to do that, we need to create a network of opportunity. We need to make sure that people can meet each other, that they can work together, that gone are the days where individual organisations can do everything. Well, gone are the days that which RBI would never have had because of its specialist delivery. Gone are the days where large-scale employment support providers had, for want of a better term, generically unemployed people in volume and could deliver a non-bespoke service that served the purpose of pretty much most of those individuals. So that means that organisations invariably can't do that alone, and have realised this. And so having a network where people can work together in a mutually beneficial way is really important, and once again comes back to the IEP's need to deliver great services for people so people get great outcomes. Okay. So a couple of years ago, we started talking about this movement within the employability profession and what we thought that would mean, what would be required in the future. And by the way, you've seen there's a list here of 7 key components. I'm not saying for a single minute that every single person on this call, on this webinar, is not this. But this was 2 years ago when we were saying what we thought we needed for the sector. So, highly skilled is a given. Individuals need to know what to do, when to do, and how to do it. and be able to prove that level of skill. And it's interesting because commissioners are becoming more and more interested in that in terms of workforce development and the skill level and ability of those individuals. And if you look at aspects like Merlin and Matrix assessments, Merlin and Matrix are assessing the capability of the organization, but surely you cannot prove capability of an organization without proving the capability of those individuals that work for that organization and drive that delivery. And any employer worth their salt out there and who really understands this is genuinely focused on those individuals that have the touch points with customers, because they're the individuals that drive revenue. So you should be very pleased with yourselves. You're the individuals that drive revenue within RBLI, and to make sure that the services are as good as they can be. Resourceful and integrated, being a leader of systems. Gone are the days, and once again I'll caveat this by I don't think this was in RBLI at all because of specialist delivery, but gone are the days where an advisor could sit behind a desk and wait for an referral to come in. They have to lead systems. They have to be integrated within the local community. They have to be able to converse with people readily. Two reasons. One is this is albeit the people we work with are significantly disadvantaged, this is a customer market. So customers have choice and they can go and get the support that they need. And secondly, you can't do it all alone. So you have to lead activity. You have to know where to go for a particular piece of provision or a particular support for the outcome you're trying to get to. And that's really important. And actually what that's led to is some brilliant partnerships and some really great work. An organisation no longer used as partnership, for want of a better term, and I hate it, bid candy. They're used within bids and then within operational delivery because they're needed. And the skill they have can't be replicated within the other companies involved. And that's really important. The last two here are connected again within the wider community and trusted. You can train an advisor to be a decent advisor with the process systems and all the things that corporates normally train people. But unless you train advisors and they understand effectively trust, building, coaching and mentoring principles and ethics, I think that is the challenge for the future. And that's where the IEP is doing a considerable amount of work around ethics, around building trust. And we're really excited about what that can bring. We've just concluded a European project with refugees and migrants where ethics and trust were a significant part of the delivery. And the results are phenomenal in terms of life and work expectations of those individual migrants. And those migrants, don't forget, are in Europe, they're in Greece, and they will have been 2 or 3 months from landing on a beach in Greece. So they're significantly disadvantaged. And we genuinely believe that some of these key principles that have been proven through that 2-year research will be able to build something that is right and ready for the market in its entire sense here. Okay, so that's what we thought 2 years ago. The thinking hasn't changed massively. The difference is that most people operating in the sector have either gained those talents and skills or are in the process of gaining those talents and skills. And I'm sure everyone on the call today already is way ahead of all of that activity. But it was important to put down the benchmark and where we thought this was going. So if you don't have those skills and talents, or all of them, or you really want to share them with everybody else, or you want to see what other people are doing, how do you do it? Well, you log on to myiep.uk. This website should be ingrained in your psyche, and you should have it available at all times. And I'll show you in a moment how you can do that. You can do lots of things on there that you can do on other membership sites, manage your profile and your preferences, print certificates, and get access to information. But you can also gain access to the knowledge bank. Now, the knowledge bank in its entirety won't suit everybody, and won't suit everybody for different, will suit everybody for different reasons. Sorry, won't suit everyone in the entirety, but there will be always something for somebody to learn and engage with. We have very simple things like 10 things guides. where specialists in a particular area like R&IB for sight loss, or Genius Within for Asperger's, or Peninsula Training Development Company for motivational interviewing, have provided 10 things that employment advisors need to know about supporting people. And when we get onto the practical demonstration, I'll show you in a moment. So I've got my cup of tea here. And then there's also an induction pack and process, which is great because it covers off a lot of the inductions that you will have done under your corporate induction. But you can also achieve CPD points if you're a member of the IEP, and thus you can then print your annual CPD certificate. And all in all, on the social link activity of this, you can join networks, interact more effectively. And I'll show you in a bit, but you can do all of this on an app, on an iPhone or an Android phone, which is fantastic. Under My CPD as a member, you can track your own CPD, you can prove to your manager what you're doing, and you can build points to be recognised as having a significant impact within the sector. Okay. The last point there is about bursary offers. We often have free places for conferences for members. And not only can you build CPD points from that, but also there is not the cost of having to go and pay for these things yourself, or your employer paying for these things for you to go and do it. All you need to worry about is booking well in advance and talking to your manager, team leader, supervisor about getting the time you need to go and do it. You no longer have to worry about the cost. I mentioned induction packs before. Yes, there's some of the legislative stuff that employers will already do, but there's also some stuff around challenging extremism, lone working, things like that, which most corporates will have policies, but this has been built with the wealth of experience of the whole sector, which is quite useful. Okay. And here's an example of the CPD program. Excuse me. And, you know, when we get onto the demo, you'll see that there is narrative, and then there's PowerPoint presentations, and then a test to prove that you've learnt it, which then enables you to have CPD learning, which is fantastic. You can record your points. The last thing on this I want to say is the interactive jobs board. Every single person on this call, which is 22 of you, I'm sure is very, 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 very happy with your current employer. And if you could speak, I'm sure you would say exactly the same thing, because we're doing a webinar for RBLI. And why wouldn't you be? Because it's a fantastic organisation. But there is an opportunity to see what is out there. And I'll show you how that works later. But probably more importantly than that, RBLI as an organisation can advertise jobs on there. And they're advertising jobs only with people who have a genuine interest in working in our sector or already work within the sector. So it's almost a captive market, which is really useful. And then what we're going to do, the mainstay of today, is this IEP website upgrade. We're going to learn about what it looks like now, how we can use it, the social links, how the knowledge bank is going to look, because that's the final piece of the jigsaw. But I'll show you how to navigate it at the moment, and the navigation elements will not change. And how you can get involved with the IEP through that facility. And we want to encourage as many people as possible to do that. Anyone on the call that has access as well to the Manchester area, or is able to travel to Manchester area, our annual general meeting is on the 11th of October, late in the afternoon, 4 till 7. And we have a presentation from your good self, but we'll skip over that because that'll be the worst part of the thing. We also have a presentation from Joseph Rowntree Foundation about industrialisation, career progression, in-work poverty, various things that I think will be of real interest. And then we also have a final presentation from the Prince's Trust around mentoring and coaching, but with a really, really funky, modern kind of twist around how they show that interaction and how they show that can work. So it's free, and there will be drinks and, for want of a better term, nibbles. And I would encourage anyone that has the ability to do that in terms of geography and distance to travel and things like that, that you get booked on. And if you're receiving EP every single week, Employability Professional, you will have seen many times a link to Eventbrite to book for free to attend that meeting. There'll be over 2 hours worth of learning in that session, and you will go away feeling invigorated and that it has added value to you, I'm sure. Okay, so I'm going to move out of this presentation. This is where it all goes wrong. And I'm hopefully going to now do a website demo. I'm back, so I can see the chats. Anyone got anything to say so far? Any thoughts? Please don't be shy. If there's any thoughts or any challenges or anything you want clarification on, I'm really happy to do so before I do the website tour. Okay. Well, I've not got anything there at the moment. Either we've got somebody who's very slow typing, which is me, or has a lot to say and it's not come through yet. So we'll carry on, and there will be another opportunity in a moment. So, as I say, if you just bear with me just a second, I will make sure that we've got the right thing up there that you can then see. And then if I press share, as if by magic, it is there. Okay. So this is a new website. Anyone who saw the old IEP website will realise that by the time it was replaced after 6 years of the IEP being in existence, it was way out of date, about 6 years, actually. Felt very 2D, not brilliantly easy to use, and actually not very smart and, you know, not like this. So we went back and we redesigned from the bottom up, basically, the website, so you could find it more usable. I'm just going to sign out because that's an easiest way to show how we do this. So, and I can show you how to log in and stuff. And once again, I don't want to teach anyone to suck eggs out. You know, a lot of this is second nature to people, and I appreciate it. But I genuinely believe that if you've had a show around, you use it once, you will continue to use it, and you will find it as a really, really good tool for you to use in your day-to-day lives. Okay. For any of those really sharp people out there, you will have seen that was my IEP and my CPD up here. They're no longer there because I've signed out. You're going to get them back when I sign in. Okay? On the IEP website, you have the normal stuff. So there is a home section about IEP, the current board, directory of fellows, of which we're very proud that Andy Milton is one of those. Which is fantastic. There is elements around what you can do around your membership, how to apply for fellowship if you decide to. Career progression is really interesting because you've got the new draft employability practitioner standard there at level 4, which I'll talk about a little bit more later. And also the endpoint assessment plan for that practitioner that we've had to submit to the Institute for Apprenticeships. The IP Knowledge Bank I'm doing quite a bit on in a moment, but they're all the different elements. I mentioned 10 things guides and induction guides and things like that. And then news and events and things like that is obvious. So if we look at the homepage first, firstly, the new setup is these kind of button activities. And when I come to the knowledge bank, I'll advise you that I can't remember the 5 or 7 of these buttons, so they'll be very easy to register through and get information on policy and comment or individual learning or news from the sector or news from the IEP and stuff. And rather than using the search bar up here, which I'll show you in a moment, you'll have a decent stab at, you know, where this thing might sit. You can see on the right hand side now, because I've logged out, it allows me to log in, which I'll do in a moment. Access to the knowledge bank through here. Tweets, news, and the calendar of activity. You can see here, RBLI. Webinar is on there, which is today. Fantastic. I'm very happy to be doing it. Ways in which people can join. So as individual members, as a corporate member, which is the RBLI is. Individual membership, I hope more and more of you will become individual members. And then we have strategic partnerships. So we have URSA and ALP and Give Us a Chance Consortium and Careers England and various different organisations who work with us to help get the message even further out there. And this is the most exciting piece, get involved. Do you want to join a network? Press the button. We will help you join a network. Great if you tell us what you're doing. It's fantastic. Send the news through to us. We will publish it. Share with us what works. Tell us what you're doing. Enable us to get that out to a wider audience for the benefit of many other people. You're not going to put anything that's commercially in confidence in there. This is your personal reflection. Or you can ask an expert. We have a directory of fellows of over, I think, over 60 fellows now. Lots and lots of people who can enable you to get the right answer. And you've got one of them in your employee, so that's fantastic. And down at the bottom, these are our partners. I've already shown you on the presentation a number of them. And if we were to sit here long enough, you would see RBLI scroll past. And I'm not sure where it is on the loop. The loop is a continuous loop. Clearly, that's what a loop is, isn't it? And we may well see it come up while I talk further. What I'm now going to do is to sign in and enable you to see the differences when you're signed in. For anybody who hasn't got a login, who's on the call, or anybody knows somebody who doesn't have a login, then please speak to Claire Bonthrone in the first instance. And we will make sure you've got it. If you've had a login and you've done nothing with it, I don't want to know that, that's fine. But there's RBLI, just scroll past now. If you've had a login and done nothing with it, and you don't know where it is, then that's fine. Just get in touch and we will get it sorted out. Probably best to go through Claire in case there's a couple of three of you that are in that situation. We can get that done, okay? So, scrolling up without making you feel sick by watching it. So I'll try and do it as slowly as possible. I'm going to sign in. And the great thing about this is it remembers me because I've asked it to. And now, I have my CPD and my IEP exists because I've signed in. Okay. And at the top, I have sign out, and I have a LinkedIn link, and then LinkedIn and Twitter, and then hopefully we'll have oh, it's gone. YouTube. That's it. YouTube link up there very, very soon. Okay. As I say, it works very much like any other website. You can access the jobs board here directly. I'll just show you that really quickly. Go through. Well, I say very quickly if my broadband was, there we go. Jobs board, separate section for job seekers, separate section for employers. Clearly, employers will want to post jobs, job seekers might want to look for jobs. Job seeker can manage your resumes, put CVs up there, do some job searching, set job alerts, manage your account. Just like any other jobs board anywhere else, same way it works. Employers can post a job, manage their account, manage their CV banks and everything. And just for those, if there is an employer potentially looking at posting anything, that's the kind of cost that we're talking about. The corporate affiliate price is often close to, if not definitely, half the price of posting if it's a non-corporate affiliate organisation. So there's a massive reduction in cost. At any time when you're outside of the normal homepage or the normal website activity, if you click on the logo of the IEP, you go back to the homepage, which is always very, very useful. Okay. So I'm signed in, I've already said that. I can now go into the knowledge bank and I can access 10 things guides. Let me just show you a couple of these. Sight loss. Done by the RNIB, a bit of an introduction, stuff around specialist support, and then you've got 10 different elements to delivering that service to somebody if you've not come across somebody with sight loss before. Show you another one more up to date. Not that this is out of date, it's just it's not quite so recent. I mentioned motivational interviewing there. 10 tips for engaging motivation customers, written by Peninsula. We could have some RBLI ones on here if we don't already. 10 things guide to, let's go dyslexia and dyspraxia. This is always interesting. Written by Genius Within for us. And tells us some key facts about it, about these two conditions, what the stats are, and then 10 top tips. Really interesting one on here around stammering. We all work in a caring profession. We want to help people as much as possible, but I think it's point 1 on the stammering. 10 Things Guide says we shouldn't complete people's sentences for them. Now that's obvious when somebody says it, but because we want to help people and we're sat in front of them, it may not be as obvious to everybody. Okay. Under the Knowledge Bank, you can also gain access to the Induction Pack. So let's go to challenging extremism. Just a little while to come up. I might have to put my security code in again. You won't have to do this. This is just the way my laptop's set up. It's very odd. Oh, I haven't this time. That's really good. So you can see there's a facilitated pack. This can be done on your own or in a group. Lots and lots and lots of information and a slide deck to deliver it. Okay. If you want the slide deck, the PowerPoint slides, it's there. Clicking on here. And once you've completed that, you are able to gain an Induction Pack certificate if you do all the elements of the Induction Pack, and the points will be added to your annual CPD certificate, which is fantastic. Okay. So, on the induction, you would go in, you would do your learning. Here's the disabilities one. And once you've finished your learning, you could click on here to do the examination to prove the point that you know what it's all about, you've read the stuff, and that you've retained it, and that you are worthy of the CPD points. Okay? They are then added to your CPD certificate, and I'll show you that in a moment. Also in the Knowledge Bank, you have other things around policy and comment and elements of individuals that are working within the sector. I encourage anyone to share their experience and story with us, and you can also be an employability person, which is not easy to say, which is there, okay? Okay, up here as well, if you come into the main body of the website and you're signed in, you can search for something. So if I go to motivation, and press return, or press on the hourglass thing. Oh, okay. Motivation, I was being clever there. Okay, motivational interviewing then. There's a number of articles and things that have those elements in. And if I search for something else, I'm sure there might be 20 different elements in there. Let's search for careers. There you go. So lots and lots of stuff on careers. Goes on and on and on. Okay, so you can understand. So it searches really well. But it will be even easier to search when we get the Knowledge Bank finished, and that is the final element of this. Okay. Just going to go back to the home page. Okay. So that's the Knowledge Bank. News and events is pretty straightforward. My CPD now is the next interesting element. So here's the IEP, part of the IEP CPD program. Okay, and then what we then have is under my CPD, we have the induction pack elements, we have CPD examinations for those, we have track my certificates, track my CPD, and the annual CPD certificate. And now, some of these things are replicated down here, and some of them are replicated in here. But I've always had a firm belief that if things are in 2 or 3 places, you're more likely to be able to find them. It's not an issue. Okay. So if I go track my certificates, I think this is the right way now. There we go. You can see that I've done no CPD over the year. That's not quite true. I'm hands up, I need to put my CPD in here, and I will be doing before I need to do another one of these webinars and be embarrassed. And the reason I'm embarrassed is that I can't show you what a CPD certificate looks like because I haven't achieved enough CPD this year, or I have, but I've not recorded it. So if I go back to this and I go into track my CPD, I can then add stuff. So this is what I'll be doing to do it, okay? First, I can search for stuff. So you'd hope this was massively long and you need to search for things. Or I can add an entry, or I can email this to my manager or to myself if I want to have this access to this outside of this. But adding an entry is absolutely fine. We give you some idea about CPD points, There is a bit of honesty here required, but ultimately if it ends on a certificate and it looks ridiculous, then it's not right. And we check members' CPD every single year. Currently you have to earn 50 CPD points a year to be a member of the IEP. That will be increasing to 100 points a year for everyone who's a member of the IEP. Because as we build more and more training collateral, that CPD will not be hard to gain. Well, it'd be hard to learn, but it'll be very, very accessible. Okay, and all of this element is in the back of the website, which is in something called Social Link, which I want to show you in a moment. So just really very quickly now, they're going on to My IEP. You can see your membership certificate. I'm going to view it, and then all I do is print it. I'm very proud to be a fellow of the IEP. Okay, that's that. Straightforward, print it off. I can pay my membership when it's due for renewal. I can edit my profile. I won't go into this. I mean, it's just like any other website. I can change the preferences. That's really important, because if you don't have the wall or social feed, I think it's called, ticked, you won't have some of the functionality that I've got here. That has to be you doing it for GDPR. You can go to the jobs board again there. You can claim tax relief for your membership if you're a member. And lots of other bits and bobs there that you can get involved with. Okay. So now I'm going to go purely through to the social link activity on my feed. I've got my feed ticked, so it's there. Okay. So it's not loading some photo at the moment because my broadband's a bit sticky, but you can see lots and lots of posts from people that I know, stuff about what's going on, people who have joined. Okay. And you can post photographs and updates. I'm sorry if I'm making you dizzy there. Photographs and updates and everything just like you would do on LinkedIn. Okay? And the real beauty of this is, for those of you that can see, I'm hoping you can see, this is my iPhone. Okay, it's got loads and loads of junk on it, but it's got one thing that's really, really good. It has something, an app called SL, Social Link. Once I've logged in with the same credentials that I use on the IEP website there, it will always be IEP related, yeah? You can do this on the move. You can get the learning and access social networks. You can do all of those things on Social Link. Search App Store or Android Store or whatever you call it for Social Link. Download it, enter your credential you do on the website, and you'll be up and running. You can do so much with this when you've got little time, like we know we all have, and when you're on the move or making a cup of coffee or whatever you're doing. Okay, yeah, don't do it on the move. Don't do it while you're driving. That's a really good idea. Okay. Up here as well, you can change your profile, look for people, check your messages, connect with individuals, form groups or ask IEP to form a group for you. And the quick links are back to the homepage at the moment, but we will be building more of it. But going to my profile, please don't email me at home. Contact info's there about, I just want to find once again the preferences because I want to show you what you need to do. So just bear with me just 2 seconds. I'll come down to here. I think it's under Manage Profile. This is quite new to me, the website as well. So just, here we are. This is the profile. There we go. Information and settings. Lots of different settings along the top. But I've connected with all of this. I get told when people join a network. I get told when people join a particular group. Like any other feed thing, you can choose what you want. The only thing I would say to you that you really need to do, if at all possible, is tick the bottom one. I mean, I would tick them all, but please tick the bottom one, which enable people to see your, enable you to see your activity feed. Okay? Contents and features. I've not got anything there. I can add great stuff about what I'm doing, who I'm doing that with, put a CV up there, lots and lots of different things, okay? As we work through this, as we get more proficient with this, more and more things will be used, okay? Just really quickly on this, I don't want to scroll down because there is some personal information there, but anything on your profile that has a red asterisk to it is locked. And that means that people cannot see it. So you're very, very safe. And the only people that can see anything about you are the people that you've decided to connect with. Okay? So if Mike's sitting next to Susan in the office and Susan doesn't want to talk to Mike, which I doubt at RBLI everyone's so jovial, or Mike doesn't want to talk to Susan, then they don't share this stuff. Very, very safe. Okay. And that's it for the social link, and that's it for the website. The information is there. The more we build a movement, the more learning we have there, the more accessible it is for everyone, and the more we can do together. I'm going to come out of the website now and check any responders. Okay. Hi, everybody again. Okay, I've not had anyone type any more messages since. Okay. Just seeing if there's anything else coming up. No, I've not got anything. Chris Hammond, I recognise. Hi, Chris, you're very welcome. Everyone on this list is very, very welcome. Really nice to have you all here. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my presentation now and just finish off. Okay. So we've learned about why the IEP is here and what it thinks advisors will need to look like in the future. Sorry, I'm jumping around here a little bit. Right. We've now learned how we can gain access to some of that information and how we can gain access to networks. And what we can do as individuals take responsibility for our own CPD and thus influencing the level of service provision we provide. Because I do fundamentally believe that we're always learning. Okay. What I'm going to talk about now is what we think at the IEP is going to be the future of both the IEP and the sector as a whole. And I'll do that just after these other elements. So really quickly, everyone should be getting Employability Professional every single week on a Monday at 10 o'clock. If you're not, Tuesday if it's a bank holiday. If you're not getting it, you need to shout very quickly. It's a great resource for telling you what's going on and giving you learning. Whether you choose to accept it or what you choose to read is entirely up to you. But don't not get it, please. And here are some examples of the kinds of things that are there. A couple of these are a little bit out of date, but it's an e-newsletter and it comes through to your inbox. We think that the learning through the IEP will enable individuals to really engage with CPD. And that's not just CPD that IEP provides, that's everywhere. We also think that people are far more engaged. We also think that a third-party influence over people, as long as the right influence, is a really positive thing. And we also think that you can enhance the learning within, the corporate learning within an organisation by having another organisation helping with that learning. We also fundamentally believe, and I feel so strongly about this, that if you are an advisor or an individual coaching, mentoring and supporting or advising an individual back into work or with their career progression or into sustaining work or getting to the point where they are, for want of a better term, work ready, you will be having daily, weekly conversations with those individuals about improving their skill sets, improving their knowledge, changing some behaviour, challenging themselves, all of those things. Is it fundamentally right for anybody to be doing that if they're not taking their own advice, practicing what they preach, being the individual that is always learning? And I'll leave that question there. I know the answer to that. I hope that everyone else does. Okay. So we decided that whilst we had qualifications at the IEP, and those qualifications are still available, right, relevant, amazing actually, and a number of people at RBLI have been through that qualification process. We needed something that was going to look after the future, look after the present and the future. And in an ever-changing marketplace, we needed something that was really flexible. We also need to find something that would be funded effectively. So the great news is that we are currently going through the route panel of the Institute for Apprenticeships. We're looking likely to be able to go live with something in October, and it will be fully funded through the apprenticeship levy, which is really exciting. So we will have a level 4 employability practitioner apprenticeship standard. When I say we, I say the sector will have. The IEP will be the standard bearer for that standard. It will be the quality control for that standard. But it's not our standard, it's the sector's standard. We initially developed a level 3 and a level 4, but decided about 6 months ago that we would go solely with the level 4. And we did that for a number of reasons. Commercially, it makes sense to organisations to deliver one level. You don't dilute the number of people that are doing it. Level 4 is funded higher than a level 3, understandably, there's more to learn. Level 4, in a practicing sense, elevates everybody to a good level of practice within the sector, and those that are operating at a level are substantiated for that. There are already level 3 qualifications around, entry points to this. Business admin, customer service, coaching, some support, teaching assistant qualifications, very simple things. Level 4 becomes the linchpin right in the middle. So from level 4, when we talked about career progression, it could be management, specialisation, could even be thinking about, after doing level 4 employability practitioner, to enter into the world of physiotherapy, occupational therapy, social work, housing, high-level mentoring, teaching. I mean, there's so many different things there. And all of those professions that I've mentioned are recognised professions, and that even the public would recognise. So this is why we need to focus very highly on this. The IEP is asked to do this because it's our sector. Clearly, we work and operate within it, but also we have access to a really big network of people. We need to get something off the ground. We've been developing this for about 16 months now. Most Trailblazer groups take 3-6 years to develop this. Some have developed Trailblazer apprenticeships with the aid of an employer group, not as large as ours. Over 50 employers have been involved in this, including RBLI. They've developed something, and 3 years later the lead body decides it's not fit for purpose anymore. I think some of that's due to the reflection in the time it's taken, but also some of that's due to the fact that it wasn't right in the first place. 2 years maximum to develop it, depending on where somebody sits currently in their learning. We also have a fail, which I hope very few people do, a pass, or a distinction within the level 4. When you start on the apprenticeship, you will be given, as part of the apprenticeship, a IEP status if you're not already a member of the IEP, which is associate member. Upon completion, whether that takes 13 months or 24 months, you will be given membership, MIEP. And for those that achieve a distinction, as long as they achieve all the other criteria of the level of membership, will be invited, coached and supported as much as possible to apply to be a fellow of the IEP. So you can see that the IEP is going to be running very concurrently with this apprenticeship standard. Okay. So a couple of things have happened with that, which are less important for this webinar, but I'll mention, the IEP has become even wider in its focus, more focused on employability and more focused on engendering independence within people. And those individuals, organisations, have widened the profile of themselves. And we've got some great relationships through them, which are going to last for a very long time. So, the draft standard is nearly finished. We've got some awarding bodies on board. A number of organisations have already said they want to deliver the standards commercially. Would that be for other organisations or groups of organisations? We've had people come and say they want to do the endpoint assessments. We are now waiting for the final price banding for the Institute for Apprenticeships to sign it off. And as I say, we're supposed to go live in October this year. The really nice thing is that the IEP is going to be the EQAO, which is the External Quality Assurance Organisation for this standard. So we will be the final checking mechanism to make sure that standards are being upheld and that people are learning what they should learn and proving the capability that they should be able to prove. operating in that environment. Okay, so that's the end of the presentation. Thank you very, very much for listening. I hope that you found that interesting and useful. I've just seen a comment, actually. I'll come back to that in a moment. Yeah, I hope you found that really interesting and useful. Hopefully that engenders a belief that you'll be able to find the stuff that you want on the IEP website, and it's not going to be too painful to do that. All I can say to you is please start accessing into the networking events we're doing, to the AGM, start reading EP, start seeing what's going on. Once you start to build that network, it becomes really, really engaging. And I'm not expecting you to do that in your work time. You know, you've got a lot to do as advisors, and it's a very, very challenging job. There is no doubt. But it will provide for you an environment where you can share with people some of the challenges, and you can believe genuinely that you're not on your own. There are thousands of people out there doing this and wanting to do this absolutely to the best of their ability. Okay. So I've had a comment from Julie Walker. It says, if we advertise on your website, do your members get a message to alert them that there is a new post? Yes, they do. They get an email every single week as part of Employability Professionals say the jobs board is out. If you have it as a specific, and please forgive me because I've come out of that part, whether it's a featured one or not, then yes, members get advised that is available. It's the next grade of activity. But I'm hoping that people are accessing it anyway and seeing what's going on anyway. But from an employer perspective, we will do what you want us to do with those postings. You just need to make sure that we know that is happening. Okay, so thank you for that, Julie, a very good question. Unless there are any other questions, I will stop the recording and end the webinar. Well, thank you very much to everyone at RBLI.